Hello, and I am live at a stable kbps and fps for now. And does YouTube know that I am live? YouTube also knows that I am live, and YouTube says that I have an excellent connection. That is amazing, and we can simply start. Yep, CP31 for today. Let me make this dark mode. 800 problem. The this question, grasshopper on a line, right? You are given two integers x and k. Grasshopper starts in a point 0 on an ox axis. In one move it can jump some integer distance that is not divisible by k to the left or to the right. Okay, it is on starting at 0 in the OX axis. Okay, what is the smallest number of moves it takes the grasshopper to reach point X? Okay, what are these moves? If there are multiple answers, print any of them. Smallest number of moves. Okay, input. The first line contains a single integer t, and the only line of each test case contains first x and then k. Okay, and x is between 0 to 100 and k is between and also inclusive 0 to 100. Okay, the endpoint and the constraint on the jumps respectively. For output, for each case in the first line, print a single integer n, the smallest number of moves it takes for the grasshopper to reach point x. In the second line, print n integers, right? Print n integers, each of them not divisible by k. A positive integer would mean jumping to the right, a negative integer would mean jumping to the left. The end point after the jumps should be exactly k. Okay, each jump distance should be between 10 to the power minus 9 to 10 to the power 9. That is cool. It can be, but yeah, of course it will be between these because I do not want to go further than 100, so that is cool. And I am starting at 0, so at max the distance that I want to jump would be 100, and x is always, so why would I jump negative? Yes, I could jump negative, that is also cool. Right. Grasshopper reach point, grasshopper can jump some integer distance. Okay, okay. It can be shown that the answer always exists under the given constraints if there are multiple answers. Print any of them. That is cool. Let me open Vim. Go to the 800 folder, Vim, and click on the extension, say CPP, and let me increase the price a bit. And if I can start, it has been 3 minutes. That is cool. It took me 3 minutes to uh, read the question. Now I have t as the number of cases, then I would have int x, int, yeah, x and k, right? And cn, first is x and second is k, right? And what would my algorithm be? I know that x is greater than k, right? No, x is anything, it can be anything. Okay, okay, the closest I can do. Okay, so in this case I do know that k is not 1, so that makes sense. First of all, let me see, can I jump directly to x? If x remainder k equal to 0, then see out. Wait, if that is the case, then I would like to say I can go there in a single move, and then new line. What is that move? That move is x. Wait, not x, or that move would be no, no space is needed there. 1, and that would be x with a new line there, right? And here, else if I know that x is not divisible by k, then I would like to see if x minus 1 or x plus 1 are divisible by k. And if that is the case, then I would jump there and then minus 1 or plus 1 to get to x. So the answer is going to be, wait, here the answer is 10. Yep, the answer is going to be either 2 or 1. In every case, the answer is going to be either 2 or 1. Yep. So now, yep, in this case, the answer would be 2, right? The answer, the number of steps would be 2. Now, what do I want to check? I want to check if x plus 1 is divisible by k. Then I'll do something else. Else, I think I do not have to check an else. Wait, wait, wait. Yeah, I don't think I would have to check an else if I know that x is not divisible by k, and right, and x plus 1 is not divisible by k, then x minus 1 has, if I know that x is divisible by k, wait, I will get into this else only when x is divisible by k, and if it is not, if x is not divisible by k, in that case, uh, fuck, in this x is divisible by k, but that would be wrong. Shit. So I have to check. It's not divisible. If x is not divisible by k, then do this. Else, if x is divisible by k, then I would know that x plus 1 is not divisible by k, because k can at least at max be equal to 2. And if I know that x is divisible, then x plus 1 is not going to be divisible by k. So I do not have to check this condition here. I can just see out to a new line and x plus 1, yes, x plus 1, and then a bit of space, and then minus 1. I can get this here, space, minus 1, and new line, and go to x plus 1 and then a little back. Let's see. Yep, it says wrong answer, but that is cool. Think a grasshopper on a line. This should be cool. Documents, programming, competitive programming says 800, a grasshopper, this one, and submit. Let's see, and accept. Fuck. Yep, accepted. Now we can move on. Let me refresh it. Yep, we can move on to unit array. What does this say? Given an integer a, an array a is the name of the array of length n, which elements are equal to minus 1 and 1. Okay, let's call the array a good array, a good, good if following conditions are held at the same time. The sum is greater than 1 and multiply is greater than 0 and multiplication is equal to 1. Okay, and I only have minus 1 and 1. That would mean I need to have an even amount of negative numbers, even amount of minus 1 and Yeah, an even amount of -1 would do, but the amount of 1 has to be at least 1 greater or equal to or 1 greater than the number of -1s that I have. In one operation, you can select an arbitrary element of the array AI and change its value to the opposite. In other words, if AI is -1, you can assign the value +1, and this thing is the walrus operator in Python. 1, and if AI equals 1, then assign the value to AI -1. Determine the minimum number of steps operations you need to perform to make the array A good. It can be shown that it is always possible. Okay, in input, first line is T. Okay, the first line of each test case contains a single integer n. Okay, and then I would have the array itself. For output, for each test case, output a single integer, the minimum number of operations required. Makes sense. So click on the extension, go there, select CPT, print in the boilerplate, and then I have the integer n, and then a vector of integer called a, and yeah, let me do this here, clean n and new line. Now while n minus minus, I would like to do is also do here and if c in take into c, and then push it a dot push back c into a, and after getting the whole array, I would like to do something. First of all, I only have to make sure two things. First of all, I would like to make the number of ones, make the number of -1s equal even, and second of all, make the number of positive ones greater than or equal to the number of -1s that I have. So let me create another integers, p1 for +1 and n1 for -1, and if c equal to 1 or we go negative to -1, then -1 will be increased by 1, and else +1 will be increased by 1. And I do see my mistake, which is right here. I have to initialize them to be equal to 0. And wait, I don't need to create an array. I do not have to traverse them later, so I can just remove the array part. And in here, what would I like to do is, first of all, check how many negative ones I have, if they are even or not. If n1 remainder by 2 equals 0, then we are totally good. Else, if they are not, then I would like to convert one -1 into +1. That would be cool. So if it is not, then n1 minus minus, since I decreased one -1 and converted into a +1, therefore +1 plus plus. Now if if p1 is greater than or even equal to n1, then we are good to go. I can just simply do c out and say 1, because that is the amount of operations we committed. Otherwise, I don't need, yep. Otherwise, I will have to convert some negative ones into positive ones, and on each time the difference, which is p1, which is n1 minus p1, would decrease by 2, and I want to make it equal to 0. So the answer should be c out, let's say n1, which is a greater number here, minus p1 divided by 2, right, and divided by 2 and plus 1, and make it floor floor floor, yeah, make it floor. If I have, if the difference is 1, then I would get divided by 2 equal to 0, but I would have to still do one operation. So seal, yeah, seal, that is cool. I would get the ceiling of this thing plus 1 and then a new line, right? That does make sense. And in this, if it is shit, what is this thing checking? This is checking if it is, yeah, yeah. So all of this, nope, nope, that is bool. Okay. Wait, yeah, I can put all of this logic here outside, because after running these two things I would know that they are even, right? But okay, let me also create some integer which is, let's say, count, right? And after this, let me make c equal to 0, and if this, I only have to do this if it is not equal to 0, and also c plus plus count also increases by 1, right? After this I go there, and instead of this I do count, and can count be equal to, can my answer be equal to 0? Yes, it can be equal to 0. So c out, c with a new line, and else, in the else case, is this correct? This plus c, and c, test running, run, and wrong answer. Why? In which case? Okay, it is because of the ceiling or something. In this I got 3, 1.5, wait, which is, yeah, 2 is what I was supposed to get, but I didn't got 2. Okay, and the question was this. Okay, if this is the thing, then I have, yes, the answer has to be 2, but I gave out 1. Why? After this loop, my n1 would be even, that is cool, and hmm, hmm. After this, my n1 would be even, right? And when I come here, I see that p1 is not greater than n1, so I go here and c is 0, right? And then I see this. I have to make them, okay. Even after doing this, I have to make sure that I am not making any even. Yeah. After this, I have to make sure that I am making odd amounts. I'm making even amounts of move. C plus even amounts of move. So I cannot just make one move or 3 or 5 moves, because that would change the number of negative ones that I have and would change the parity, which I want to keep at even. So how to do that? To make only, either I make 0 moves here, 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 6. Um, if I have 2 and here the answer is 1. Hmm. Okay, I guess for that, however, if this thing is even, then I can make it odd, right, by adding one. So C, whatever C is, C could be plus one or zero. C, wait, wait, wait. Um, okay, let me create another variable. It will be called um, n. I'm not using n at this point, so I can use n. N equals ceil n1 minus p1 divided by 2, right? And if n remainder by 2, if that is 0, if that is not 0 is the part where we are concerned with. If it is not 0, then we would like to do c plus equals n plus 1, right? Otherwise, c plus equal n. Just add n and right. Let's see if this works, and that is also wrong answer in the fourth case, which is 2, 3, 4, this one. In this one, yep, first I have to c becomes 1, right? And yes, c becomes 1. I have three negative ones, so after the while loop I have n1 equal to 3 and p1 equal to 0. And after this statement, I should have n1 equal to 2 and p1 equal to 1 and c equal to 1. And here I see that this statement is false, therefore I would go here, and here I will see that n n would become equal to 2 minus 1 is, yeah, 2 minus 1 is 1, and 1 okay, shit, okay, okay, right, makes sense. This seal has to be around these two things, right? And after this I should have n equal to 1, and after checking this condition I would add 1 to n and that to c, and c should become equal to 3. And the wrong answer still. Why am I outputting 1? C out n. Let's say if C out n, but how would I know which one is n? Uh, right, ceiling. This thing n1 minus n2 divided by 2. This should give me 1. Yeah, this ceiling should work. It says that it takes in a double ceiling, double float. Yeah, I guess it takes in a CLF, result of integer division used in a float point context possible of loss of precision. Yeah, does not matter. Let's run this, and again, wrong answer. Seal reference long shit. I think this part here is returning 1 divided by 2 as 0, but that is not what I want. I want 1.5 to be given out as 2. Yes. Hmm. Yeah. How to get upper limit of a int division in C++. Let's see that. And Harsh Belur, hi. What's the question? What is the extension you are using? The extension that I'm using is this one. Um, Competitive. This is called, I guess, parse task, or Chrome CP extension parse task, and I am using it with, yes, this is the extension, and I am using this extension along with NeoVim plugin, which goes with that extension. And the question is this one. For now, it's, I mean, they just keep changing because I just continue solving them, right? Yeah. How to get upper limit of division in C++. Fast sealing of an integer. Yes, seal, that is the function that I used. Seal static sealing of dividend divided by divisor is dividend by divisor static cast and result is static cast, and shit, that is pretty big. It should be simpler than this. Now, using integer for positive numbers. Yes. Okay. What is this? Dividend, dividend plus divisor minus 1. Okay, and divided by divisor. Is that a mathematical thing? This is my dividend plus divisor minus 1, which is just simply minus 1 divided by 2. Is that supposed to work? Let's see, and that does work. That is a mathematical thing, I guess. I can just submit this now. Unitary. Here, choose file, a unitary, submit, and let's see. It is in queue and wrong answer on test number 2. This is here. Yep, let's see what went wrong. What went wrong here? Yeah, log this verdict answer. Wrong answer in the 15th number, expected 2, found 4 on the 15th one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15, yes, in this the answer should be 2, should actually be 2, but expected 2, yeah, found 4, and it will find 4, right, because after this will not be true, so I will not go into that, and this is not true, and this in this, yeah, in this, while n minus 1, that is 4 minus 0. 4 minus 0 is 4, shit, and plus 1 divided by 2. 4 minus 0, oh shit, it might uh, give some error. 4 minus 0 plus 1 is 5. 5 divided by 2, this should be 2, and then I see this, and then I go there. Shit, this should be 2. Why am I outputting 4 in this case? I should be outputting 2. Yes, my algorithm is this, my output. And at one point I am outputting 4. I guess this is the case when I am outputting 4. but instead I should instead is this yep, yep, instead I should output 2. But why am I outputting 4 in this case? Let's see, why am I outputting 4 in this case? It seems like, you know, after this I should have n1 equal to 4 and p1 equal to 0, and c equals 0 should be, yeah, it is 0. And then if n remainder by 2, that is if n is positive. If n is odd, then do the this thing, which it is not. It is 4, it is even. So yeah, we continue with our earlier values. Then p1 greater than equal to n1, which it is not. P1 is 0 and n1 is 4. And then we go here, and n becomes equal to n1 minus p1. n1 is 4, p1 is 0, so that is 4 and plus 1, 5, and and 5 plus 5 divided by 2 should be equal to 2, but I'm not getting 2. After this I am checking if it is odd, and it is not odd, so c, which is 0, becomes equal to c plus n, and n is 2, so 0 plus 2 equals 2, and I should get here 2, which I'm not getting. Why? This algorithm, according to me, works just fine, but it does not due to some reason. Let's see again what went wrong. It is saying that uh, this is the case, right? It expected 4, expected found 4. Why would my thing answer 4 for that case? Let me run it locally and see how things are. And blank plus plus, what is the name of the problem? The name of the problem is a unit array. Unit array cpp out dot slash out. And yes, I only have one test case. It has 4 elements. First is -1, second is -1, third is -1, fourth is -1, and answer is 2. So let me try and submit the same thing again. A unit array, right? A unit array dot cpp here, 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 submit, uh, accepted. I submitted the same thing again and it got accepted this time. That is cool. I guess what, hey man, I am back and meeple, and that is cool. And I think you should, I don't know why people are coming. You are given a permit. Moving on to the next question. This is question number 20 and at 800 level. You are given a permutation A of length n. Find any permutation B of length n such that add all of their subsequent elements, and I would get this, their sum would become a non-descending array. Okay, it can be proven that a permutation B that satisfies the condition above always exists, right? And permutation of length n is an array consisting of n distinct integers from 1 to n. From 1 to n. Okay, makes sense. In arbitrary order, for example, this is a permutation, but this is not a permutation because 2 is appearing twice, right? And this is not a permutation because we lost 2 in the middle, right? There is 4 in the array. Is not a permutation because n equals to 3, but there is 4 in the array, right? And in input, first is the number of test cases, then we have n, the number of elements in A, and then the permutation itself. Note that there is no bound on the sum of n overall test cases. For each test case, output any permutation B which satisfies. I have to add, right? I have to add any permutation B. Okay, shit. Any permutation B makes sense, I guess. Uh-huh. Yep. I guess that does make sense. Permutation B. Wouldn't it always be like this? Hmm. I want the first element to be the smallest that it can be, and then the next element to be greater than that, and then that. What would my algorithm for this be? Hi, Gemini Ray and what a bro. This is rocket science. This is rocket science. No, this is doable. Of course, it is doable. CP, boilerplate, and integer n, and would I like to? Yeah, I would like to have a vector here, a and while n minus minus, and also an integer called c in c and a dot pushback c. And now after this, what would I like to do? Pushback, I have the integers. What would my algorithm look like? Yes, I want the first element to be the smallest and the last element to be the largest, but in some cases I have a smaller element here. And wait, okay, that does make sense. I think I can have an a list or something. Okay, I will add 1 to the first element, right? That is cool. Wait, but in this case, in the second case, I'm not adding 1 to the first element. I can though, I can add 1 to the first element, does not matter, right? It is just 2 1 is there to confuse me, right? And the answer can be 1 2, and that is cool. Okay, so I will add 1 to the first element always, and then I will see what is the next smallest integer that I can add to the next element, so that it either becomes equal to the last one uh, or greater than it, right? So for that I would have to traverse this thing, and I think I do not need this A array. Instead I need the array which would store the sequence which would store the B array. But I think I don't even need that. I can just put them out right as they come. No. Okay, what do I need? And the thing that I'm struggling with right now is how do I keep track of what is the current smallest element, and then if I use an element which is not the current smallest, but an integer that is not the current smallest but comes later, like in this case after 2, uh, 3 was the current smallest, but I used 4, and then I knew 3 was there. How would I know that I lost 4? I think I can keep a stack, a heap in this case, but heap in like a stack, a sorted queue would be better word. So yeah, that would make sense. Uh, yeah, that would make sense. So what I need to know for that is how to remove one element from vector in CPP. C++ arrays. It says, okay, so vector. I have a vector which has all these elements, and b dot remove from begin plus 2. Okay, begin gives me the address of the first element, and plus 2 would give me this, plus 1 would give me the address of this thing, plus 2 would give me the address of this thing, which is 30, and 30 would, I guess, be removed, and the yes, it is removed. Erase and begin plus the index. Okay, so after this, not after this, but at this point, I need to have a vector. Let's call it x, and that vector will have y elements starting from 1 up till n with an increasing order, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till n. And how do I do that? I think I have to add it individually, add all these elements individually, right? So after this, I can do c equals n, and here while c minus minus, add each element individually, not c minus minus, right? Let me make c equal to 1. Here is right. And while c is less than n, or I can just use a for loop for int I equals 1, I less than n, I plus plus, and x dot pushback I, and I will look for a faster method after I complete this question. I think this thing that I'm doing here in 3 lines could have been done in a faster way. Yeah, I think so. Because the problem here is that n is a variable, n is not fixed. So we will have to see. Right, I have the current element. Yeah, I also need to have the last element, right? So C Cn, it gives me to C, and gives another int variable for the last element, and minus minus, so that it runs one less time, and C out 1, and 1 with a space, 1 space, right? After this, and I do not have to then start it with 1. I can start this with 2 because I have already done the part of 1. Now, while C plus while C plus x bracket, I need to have a counter here. In int I equals 0, it will start at 0. Int I while C plus the element which I am proposing to add, if while this is less than the last element, what I have to do is I plus plus, yes, that is the only thing that I want to do. After this, what I have to do is I have found my element, and I can just do this c plus xi, and right, xi, and with a bit of its place, plus, and then remove that element, not erase with x dot begin plus I, and that should do the trick. And after that, at the end, I'll just do a little bit of this, and let's see, does it run? Segmentation fault, it says, but wow, why does it say segmentation fault? CPP for this I outputted 1 and then fucking 4 due to some reason. I started at 2. uh, right, so I started at 2, and in this n was equal to 5. So my why am I output? Oh shit, yes, when you're here, right, do this. And let's now run the test. It will still do segmentation multiple. Okay, 1 2 3 is not the right answer. 1 2 3 4, but in on the last one I got an error. Why? Yes, I want n also to be there, right? That does make sense. Now run it, and now it is running, but it is giving wrong answers. The answers are not matching, right? That is the thing. If I add, this was the thing, right? If I add 1 to this becomes 2, and if I add 2 to 2, it becomes 4. This is fine. Then I add 3 to 4, this becomes 7. That is cool. And then I add 4 to 3, this becomes 7. That is also cool, and this becomes 10. So yeah, this is correct. I can submit it. Yeah, a twin permutation. It says twin permutation. This one, and submit. Let's see. Wrong answer on test 1 is fucking crazy. Wrong answer on test 1. But shit, why is it wrong? CPP, this is my output. Right, it is not matching, but it does what it is expected to do. Right, 1 2 3. Increase font size. Bro uses Vim. Yes, I use Vim. And volume is bad. I think volume is good. I can increase it a little bit if that is an issue. That much should be fine, or I don't know. You can tell me if you are still watching. And yes, I use Vim. Increase font size. It is, I think, big enough, this one. And Vim is also, I get this quite big. And then volume, yep, I did that. Yesterday you suggested learn X environments, but it is in French or something. No, it is also in English. Please make video on how to set up NeoVim. Okay, I can make a video. I have my whole new, well, I can myself make a video, but I have this thing. You can watch this. Oh, in NeoVim explained, this series which I watched. Um, yep, understanding NeoVim. This is the series that I watched to get my Vim setup running. You can watch this. This is amazing, by the way. He explains things in quite comprehensively. So that is cool. Uh, yeah, learn X in 5 minutes. It is in English. You can just change language from here. Put it to EN for English, and you will be all good. And now moving on to this, it is saying that my answer is wrong due to some reason. Let's see. We should see Technoblade. Here he is, and now submissions. And this one, wrong answer on test 1. Wrong answer, printed array does not satisfy the conditions mentioned in test case. Wait, what output was this? My output was this, right? 1 2 2 and 3 plus 4 is 7. Wait, why does it not match the conditions that were provided? Mhm. Right, I have to make them less than or equal to the last one. This is correct. Which condition is it not matching? My answer for the first one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is a permutation and it does satisfy the condition. Right, right. Plus 1, plus 1, right, for this. My answer is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And wait, 1, 2, 4, 5, 3. 1, 2, 4, 5, 3, right? And 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4, and 4 plus 3 is 7, which is cool, and 5 plus 4 is 9, which is also cool. But 5 plus 3 is 8, which is smaller than 9. So yes, we got messed up in that one. Okay. Hmm. That does make sense. So what can I do? What was the correct answer? 1, 2, 4. Add 4 to 4, then 3 to 5 to make it equal to 8. Yes. And then 5 to 3 to make it equal to 8. That does make sense, right? Hmm. So I think instead of just going on and on, I also need to know, okay, when I encounter one, I have to increase the next one by one, right? And instead of adding 3 to this, I added 4, right? Because I wanted to add a smaller number to 5, right? So if I do not see things in proper order, like right here, I simply added 1 to the first one. That is just by default the thing that you have to do. But if I have to see what the hmm, right, no, not right. Wait, they can be equal, right? So if I were to, I know the maximum sum is going to be 2n, and I can take, but that would be a very sloppy solution, right? But it is a solution. So what I am saying is that make all of these sums a a1 plus b1 plus and a2 plus b2, a3 plus b3, all of them equal to 2n, and that is clever, but is that what I want to do? Yes, that is what I will be doing. While n minus minus, I don't even need these left and all of those things. I just do this and cn, take in the current number in here, and okay, I also have to keep track of what n originally was. Let's call it s equal to 2n, 2 into n, and in here I have c now, right, see, if if s is in the first case, s would be equal to 10, right? So shit, fuck, no, this is not possible to make all of these sums the greatest. No, nope, shit, that was actually stupid to think that, right? um right, no, 2n is not the sum, but n plus 1 is the sum, right? 2n is not the greatest, but n plus 1 is a value to which I can bring all of these numbers 2. So whatever is the first one, I have to, the output would be uh, s minus that number c, and then a space. I think that should work. C out a new line. CTP run. It says wrong answer, but let's see. I added 5, that made it 6. Then this is also becomes 6. This also becomes 6. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This becomes, and they become 3, right? And wait, this becomes, why is this 1, 2, 3? This is not correct. This should have been 3, this should have been 2, and all that, but it is not. Shit. Run it again. And yes, so we have s equal to 4 in this case, let's say, and c is equal to 1. So 4 minus 1 should have given 3, but it didn't. Why? Let's go to chat and swastik Korov. I don't understand where to solve questions. Currently solving on hacker rank as I am a beginner, but what after it? Code shift, code forces, lead code. I myself am a beginner in this question solving thing. But my suggestion would be to get better at programming by solving these questions, because when you are, okay, I think, okay, right. So there is development, and then there is this problem solving, which is more like maths. So you have to, for me, I am taking both of these things side by side. So I am also solving this, and I do another stream in which I am doing React to make a project. So you can start making a project and also do lead code and all these things, but have a structure which can be, you can either do this sheet which I am doing, CP31 sheet for competitive programming questions on uh, code forces, or, and there is another sheet that I was doing which was this neat code roadmap. This is for data structures, DSA, data structures and algorithms. That is cool. Yep. And also have something to do in development, like web development or mobile development or something, AI projects or something. And now back to this. And also try to understand how things are working under the hood. Like how does your compiler work? Or maybe even a little bit of assembly, how you can code in assembly and all those things. It gives you a more comprehensive knowledge of what you are doing and makes you a better bug hunter, bug solver whenever you see a bug. Here I am unable to see the bug. See, S, I'm not updating S at any point. S should have been equal to n plus 1, right? N plus 1, and yep, n plus 1, whatever n is. Run this, compile and run, and I got this thing. 4, should have added 2 to this, but why did I add 1 to this thing? I should have added 3 here and then 1 here. uh, Control C and clang plus a, what was the name of the question? A twin permutation. compile it to out, and here I will copy this one, 3 2 1, that is the one, dot slash out. I have only one test, it has 3 elements, they are 3 2 and 1, and I get 1 2 3. That is cool, that is cool. 1 2 3 is the answer for that one, but in here 1 2 4 5 3. Let's see. I have one test, it has 5 elements, it is 1 2 4 5 3. I should see 5 4 2 1 3. 5 4 2 1 3, that is what I see. So wait, so what is the 5 4 2 1 3? 5 4 2 2 1. Wait. Shit, yes, I am actually stupid. I was thinking that this is the A array, this red one is the array, but that is the answer that is provided to us by code forces. Shit. A twin permutation. Now we should be able to do this. It says accepted. Yep, that is cool. And after that, blank space. Learning Flask right now. That is cool. You make Android applications. Did you configure your new Vim on your own, or is it taken from somewhere? Nope, I configured my new Vim on my own, and on my GitHub I have my new Vim setup. NVim RC. This is my new Vim setup, and you can see my new Vim. Let me also update it to the latest one. Tmux ls and cd dot config in nvim get status, yep, get add everything, and get commit message, made changes, get push. Right now you have my latest new Vim setup on my GitHub. Is that only for CPP? No, you can do anything. It is for CPP. It is I have coded CPP. It is it also is for web development, and what else have I done? Yeah, C projects and all those things. But yes, one thing you have to keep in mind is that all the language servers that I am using for my new Vim, I had to download them on my own, and I'm not using any LSP manager, so that is what you have to keep in mind. And in my new setup, MLSP in here, these are some LSPs, but wait, plugin URL LSP config, yep, 17, yep, these are the LSPs that I'm using, and I had to download them manually, so just keep in mind you have to download these things manually, and everything else will work fine. Like there is an LSP biome. It is for JavaScript, TSLS, TypeScript language server, CMake. It is for CMake files which are used to write about your project. Like it is like package.json for C projects. And PyLSP, Python LSP, Lua LSP, Lua language server, and Rust Analyzer. It is the official Rust language server, and ClientD, it is the official C language server. Tmux attach TCP target CP. And what's the WM you use? What is WM? Don't you use Mason? Nope, I do not use Mason. I download language servers on my own so that I do not forget what language servers are and how they work. Yep, it's problem B, blank space. You are given a binary array A of n elements. Okay, a binary array is an array consisting only of zeros and ones. A blank space, a binary array is a blank space is a segment of consecutive elements consisting of only zeros. Your task is to find the length of the longest. Shit, actually, shit. That is so fucking retard. And for this, I will not check this thing on my own. I will instead. Shit, why is it not working? Lazy update quit cpp. For this I am not going to test it on using my code forces plugin. I will just go on and submit the thing, right? Int n is a thing. What else I need? Max and c s and cn n to get the current, then to get the number of to get the length of the binary array, and minus minus. Now I have to keep track of what the last character was and what the current character is. So current and a last one, right? And make this run one less time and cn get the last here. And now yep, and max is right. Max equal to, if last equals 0, then if it is 0 then max equals 1, otherwise max is equal to 0, right? After that cn get the current one, and I have to see if, wait, I don't have to keep track of the last one. Why would I need to keep track of the last one? This is stupid. I don't need to keep track of the last one, right? I just take in this one and see and initialize max to 0, and here max equal to, if c equals 0, if c is equal to 0, that is a question mark, then max becomes max plus 1, otherwise max becomes equal to 0. No, no, yeah, I cannot 0 max. I have to max and max c, that is the maximum, that is current, right? cl current length, right? Right, first of all I have to update current length, right? If cl is initially 0, so cl, this thing that I wrote here, it goes to cl, and cl plus 1. Now max equal to cl greater than max. In that case make max equal to cl, otherwise may keep it as it was. C out max new line, and yep, max is correct. cl is the length of the current line, and if c equals 0, that is, if current thing is 0, then increase cl by 1, whatever it was. If it is not equal to 0, then current length becomes equal to 0, right? And then I will check max. If cl current length is greater than max, update it equal, make max equal to cl, otherwise equal to max, and I will not check. I will simply submit this thing. It is called b blank space, choose file, b blank space, and it will be pretty bad if I get this wrong. I think I will get it accepted. That is cool. Accepted first try. And now window manager as in my terminal, that is tmux, and in this a default sliding window question. I don't know what is a sliding window question. That is the thing. I am also a beginner. I don't think this is a sliding window. We need the biggest window with blanks 0. What made you think if it failed? No. Okay, you guys are talking on yourself. That is cool. Coins. Yes, that is the thing. I do not know what is sliding window, and I think after this I will start solving the neat code roadmap for DSA, and in that there are questions which are labeled sliding window. Yep. And after solving that, I would know what is a sliding window problem, which is cool. I haven't done DSA. I've just done add-on of code, and add-on of code is amazing. This thing, add-on of code is fucking amazing. Like it is pretty beautiful. Let me paste in the link. Add-on of code. That is fucking beautiful thing. One of the best things that I know about, and I have a lot of fun doing that. Now, coins. In birdland, there are two types of coins having birdland. Two types of coins having dominations 0 and k birds. Your task is to determine whether it is possible to represent n birds in coins. That is whether there exists non-negative x and y, whether there exist non-negative integers x and y such that okay, 2 into x plus k into y is equal to n. Okay, and n will and n is not given. Input the first line contains t, the number of tests, and then I have n and k for the output. I have domination this. Your task is to determine whether it is possible to represent n rules, and I do not know. Okay, okay, I don't know what is n. Okay, I have to figure out if it is possible, and this should be easy. Go there, cpp space BLP. That is the keyboard shortcut key map that I've created in NeoVim for the boilerplate. And I need to have an int x in a wait, they are giving me n and k. Shit, my bad. N comma k and cn n and k. Right. I have to figure out if this is possible or not. If n is right, I have 2 to 3 cases. I have to see if n is less. If n is even, then we are cool, right? We are fucking cool. We don't need to worry about anything. So if n is even, that is one thing. If n is odd, then we would have to see if whether n is greater than k or smaller than k. If it is greater, then we would have to see if k is odd, or even if k is odd, then we are good to go. And if k is also even but n is odd, then we cannot do. The answer would be no. But if n is even, yeah, yeah, this should be cool. If n divided to equal 0, then we are cool. Yes. And yep. And else, if it is not, then we have to see if it is greater than. If n lesser than k, then see out no, because we won't be able to get. At this point we know that n is odd, and the only denomination uh, below k we have is even, that is 2, so we won't be able to reach n. Now else if n is, we don't have to check, if either n is equal to k or greater than k. Those are the only two remaining options. And if it is equal, then we are good to go. But if it is greater, then we would have to check a few things. Right. And I think I can check it right here. And if n equal to, okay, not and, uh, or right, either n equal to this or that, then we are good to go. So I don't have to check for equality here, right? What do I have to check? At this point, I know that n is odd and n is greater than k. Now, if k is even, then we are fucked. We don't know what to do. Then we would say no, right? And else see out yes, that would be correct because we know that k is odd and we have an the smallest possible even denomination, that is 2, so we can reach up to n, however big it is. And I think this should be correct. Wait, I have to change these. Yes, there is a. I have to change all these yeses to complete capital and all the no's to complete capital. And there is a shortcut in Vim. This is percent s ss percent s, and that is like substring or substitute yes by yes. So this percent s no by capital and O. PPP run, wrong answer it says. Okay, I didn't save it. CPP run, and that is cool. It is called A coins CPP. Should be about here. Yep, A coins CPP submit. It should accept, which which it does not. Wrong answer on third. Okay, let's see. Wrong answer on third. Did some reason. Right. Which first? Wrong answer. Expected yes. Found no in the first. What is the first? First is this and this sheet. How do I see what is written here? Mm. Wait, this one is quite big number. This is Rn and this is even. So why am I outputting odd? Because I am taking an integer. Right, that makes sense. I have to increase the size. Integer is not that big, so let me use instead of an integer I don't know, long. Integer is 32 bits and long, I guess. Wait, what is 62 bit? What is 64-bit integer in C++? Because integer is 32-bit. How to specify 64-bit integer? Normal integer is 32-bit, and if I want 64-bit integer, I use unsigned long long or int 64t. Right, okay. In int 64t. Okay, that should work now. I have saved it. Go back and submit. Let's see. A coin. Submit. Yo. Uh, it is running. Okay, it is stuck on test number 23. Accepted. Cool. I have enough code. And after this, it has been 1 hour 20 minutes, and I am only at shit. I've only done 5 problems, which is my day's goal, but Yeah, more than 1 hour for 5 problems is a shame, and these problems are simple. Yun Shin. Yun Shin is standing on an infinite plane with Cartesian coordinate systems on it. In one move, she can move to diagonally adjacent point to the top right, okay, or the adjacent point to the left, to the top right, or the adjacent point to the left. Okay, diagonally top right or the adjacent point to the left. Okay, that is if she is standing on point xy, she can either move to x plus 1, y plus 1, or x minus 1, y, x minus 1, y, yes. Kunshing initially stands at point AB and wants to move to point C. To find the minimum number of moves she needs to make or declare that it is impossible. It would be impossible if the y coordinate of target is lower, because you can never go down, or shit, if it is like to top but left, then you would have to go quite a bit left and then move up diagonally to meet that thing. Shit. Okay, that is doable. Of course it is. Now these are between 10 to the power 8, so I will be using C int 64T here also. BLP boilerplate and int 64T, um, first x, y, and the target, let's just call them A, comma B, and C, comma D. I am at AB and want to go to CD, CN, A, B, C, D. After that, if B is less than D, or even equal to, in one particular case, when A is less than, yeah. So right, let me first figure out all the cases in which this would not happen. Either this, or B is this, or B equal to D, and we have that A, the starting point is, where is it? I have CD here and AB here, but then I cannot go down, right? So yeah, if A is less than C in both these cases, I know that nothing can happen, so no. And shit. Okay, yeah, since okay. I don't have to output no or anything like that. I have to output the least number of steps, and in this case it will be minus 1 because we can never reach that point. And now we are at a place where we know we can reach that point. So I have only two moves, right? Either go left or go top right. And what can I do in these? Well, I have only two moves, either go left or go top right. Hmm. Now there are two cases. Now, uh, compared to the target, my wait, yeah, if I am taking my current position as the origin, then my target could be either in the first quadrant or in the second quadrant, right? And my solution changes in both these. If it is in the first or it is in the second, shit, there would be no possible way to reach it. Yeah, shit. Yes. One more condition other than this. in which I won't be able to reach. Like, instead of making gestures with my hand, let me draw things. Right, this is my coordinate system, and I have on this place my starting point, right? My starting point is here, and my target could be, let's say, there are, and the only possible moves that I have are this going top right by ones, and this ones to the left. Now, with this, what, right? If my target is anywhere in this place, then I can never get to it because there is no downward motion. And second, if my target is on the same line but to the right, then also I would never be able to go there, because to go to right I have to go up. But then when I go up, to get to the target I will have to go down, which I cannot do. So yep. And then if the target is on this line, then I can simply reach it. But if the target is, yeah, if the target is shit, yeah, is somewhere to this side of this line. And what is this line? This line is x equal to y. And if my target is, if it is on this line, then we are cool. But it is, if it is to the right of this line, then we are not cool. Then we are not cool. And let me check for that condition. But if my target, let me now put down the places where I can reach. If they are on this line, then we are cool. And also, yes, we can, if it is on this line, then we are cool. This area is cool. This area is not cool, right? So first of all, I will be checking if my target point is in this area, so we can just cut it out. And if it is on this, then we will write something to figure out how to get there, right? That makes sense, I guess. At least to me, it does. Now, I can just simply check for this region by this thing. This thing checks for that first condition. Then this thing checks for this condition. And how do I check for this? Yes, I can check for this. All the points in this are y less than x. And let me do before this one thing. Let me change the coordinate system. C equals C minus equals A, and D minus equals B, and A equal to B equal to 0. Now we are cool. Now, first for this, if D less than 0, like that is cool. If D less than 0, or for this line, that is D equal to 0, and at the same time C is greater than 1, greater than 0, C is greater than 0, then also we are fucked. Wait, that is just what I was doing. Yeah. Instead of this, I can just say if C is greater than D, then also the answer would be no, because every point, like, um, put it here, because let's say this is our coordinate system, and the line we have is this, right? So but the line we have is this. So every point to the right of this line, and this line is this x equal to y, not 6 but y x equal to y is this, and every point to this line to the right of this line would be at x greater than y, because x is greater than y. So yep, and now I would get into the else only if I know that I can reach that point that I want to reach. If it is here, right, how can I do that? There are, how can I do that? Right, right. My point is either here or here. There is a certain amount of up that I need to go, and that going up comes with going right. So let's say I will go first up, and how much up that I have to go, and then I will backtrack and go left to as much left as is required, right? And that would, how would that be? Right, that would result in up, right? If my point is, let's say here, right? So I will go up till I'm here, and then I will have to go here, right? So the number of steps, this would be equal to y, amazing handwriting, y, and this that I backtracked, and this thing would be, and okay, and this thing also is equal to y, and this thing would be well, this thing is, well, not y. Let me use the variables that I'm using there. So um, remove this stuff like this, which is bad, looks pretty bad, right? Should make it small, right? And this thing is equal to y d. This thing is equal to d, and this d is small, jokes apart, and this thing is also equal to d, but this thing is equal to c, and c and d. So the total number of steps would be d, this, right? D plus d minus c, because yeah, d minus c, yeah, d minus c, because here c is negative, and to add it I have to do negative, and this would also work if this target point was, let's say, around here. In that case, we would have c, this thing equal to c, and this whole thing would be equal to d. So to get this distance, so to get this much distance, I would have to subtract c from d. So we are cool. So the final answer would be d plus d minus c, 2d plus c. C out, 2, or just d plus d plus minus c with a new line at the end. New line at the end. CPP, run it. Cool, correct answer. Shit, thinking does help. Walking master. Go to this, choose file. a walking master W comes to the last. A walking master, yeah. Submit, and it is accepted. That is cool. It is going to be accepted. It is accepted. That is cool. Let's go. And on, I've done 6 questions now at this point. Let's move on to the next one, which we have done walking master. Now this, we need the 0. And at this point, how many are remaining? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's do as many as I can today in 30 minutes, and then the remaining I'll do tomorrow. And I guess tomorrow we will start with 900 level questions. Now this, we need the 0. Wait, let me turn down the AC. Yep. Now there is an array A consisting of non-negative integers. You choose an integer x and denote bi equal to, choose an integer x and denote bi equal to ai. It's XOR operator, that is exclusive OR with e for all the elements of A, where this represents bitwise XOR. Is it possible to choose such a number x that the values of expression XOR of all the things equals 0? It can be shown that if a valid number x exists, then there also exists x such that it is between this and this. Okay, okay. This should be doable. This should be doable. Yes, and XOR has a remembering property. XOR has a what do I have to output? I have to output what? For each test case put in the integer, I have to give out the integer. Okay. XOR has a remembering property. I think we can use that here. Stream is going fine. 0 frames have dropped. That is amazing. XOR has a remembering property which I can use, and that property says that if I have a that is small, let's say large, if I have a and x represents XOR, let me use white color. A XOR B XOR C XOR D, right? If I have this, and then, and let's say n equals this thing, right? And then I know for a fact that if I do n XOR B, that would be equal to A XOR C XOR D, right? If I take n elements XOR twice, then it just goes away. So that is the remembering property. Now, can I leverage that property here? What they are asking is this, and if I were to break down B into its parts, let's say I'm using this example 1, 2, 5. My A array is equal to 1, 2, 5. Now, at the end, they want, right? So let's say then I choose a integer n, and now B becomes equal to 1 XOR n comma 2 XOR n. And yes, I am moving on with a very specific example, but let's see where it goes. And then it wants me to do 1 1 XOR n space XOR 2 XOR n space 5 XOR also XOR in between XOR n. Right. Shit, this would, how would this, and I want this to be equal to 0. I have to find such an n so that this thing results in 0. Right, it is possible. It is actually possible because let's say I have, but this would not be possible if there are, if the size of the array A is even. If it is even, that is I have even number of these elements, then this then all the n's will be cutted out and they won't have any effect. It would be equal to XOR sum of A, right? So right, in this we have 3, so it is cool. In this we have 4, so I guess in the third case, shit, it says 3 because one of those elements is 0. I guess that doesn't count. Wait, that would count. That would count. That would count because I would have to do XOR of n with 0. Does it mean something? XOR of a number with 0. Bitwise XOR. Yeah, it would result in the opposite of that number. It would be like not. It would be equal to taking not. No, yeah, not of that number bitwise. So what can I do on this? Yes, I have to use some mathematical brains here. I have to make my math. Let's see. This is what I have, and if length of A is even, length A, if it is even, then I have one condition. If it is odd, then I have another condition. If it is even, then I don't think I have an answer. But if it is odd, then I do have an answer, and that would be equal to, because if it is odd, then I would know that this at the end would result in, let's say, x a means XOR of all the elements of A with each other, right? XOR of A with XOR of n, right? And to make this thing equal to 0, all I have to do is I have to make n equal to XOR of A, XOR of all the elements of n of A. So if it is odd, if the length of A is odd, then this is what I have to do. Yo. And if it is even, then I will have to look into that. So if it is odd, then the answer would be n would be equal to XOR of XOR sum of A, right? But if it is even, then I should not have an answer, but I do have an answer in this case. Why would that be? Well, let's see. In this case, it is odd, right? So what would the XOR of these things would be? I have 1, 2, and 5, and let's say 1 in binary when we are using 3 bits would be represented by 001, and 2 in binary would be represented by 010, and 5 in binary would be represented by what? 1, 1, 4, no, 101. right? Because the highest is 7, right? And if I were to take XOR of these three things, right? um, XOR of these two would be 0 1 1, and XOR for that in the end I would have XOR of like 1 XOR 2 XOR, and yes, this multiply means XOR in our case. We are using that as XOR operation. So I would have 0 1 1, and 0 1 would become equal to 1, and 1 0 would become 1, and 1 1 would become 0. So we would have 1 1 0. And what is 1 1 0? 1 1 0 is 6. And do we have the answer as 6? We do have the answer as 6. And the XOR for 1 to 3, what would be the XOR of 1 to 3? We have 1 and 2 right here, and 3 in binary is represented by 0 1 1, and yes, 0 1 1 is the XOR of 1 and 2, and if we are going to take the XOR of the same number, we would get 0, and 0 is the answer for the second case. But what I do not get is this 0 1 2 3. Why do we have a solution for something like that? Let's see. Hmm. I have 8 concurrent viewers. That is cool. I do not know why we are having an answer for something like 0 1 2 and 3, right? 0 and 3, and 0 is just in binary when we are using 3 bits. 0, I think we can do this in 2 bits, and 1 is just 0 1, 2 is 1 0, and 3 is 1 1. Now if we were to take XOR of these things, we would get 0 1 for this, and 0 1 would result in 1 1, and this would result in 1 1. This would at the end result in 0, right? uh, Shit, yes, that does make sense. And what is the answer for this thing for the third case? Why is the answer 3? Shouldn't it? Why is the answer 3 for this? 3 is 1 1. Why is the answer 3 in this case? 3 is 1 1, so 1 1, this would make it 0. It would just flip the whole thing in reverse. I would have 0 here, 1 here, 2 here, and 3 here. Hmm. Fuck. Yes, taking a XOR with 3 in this case would be equivalent. Would it be equivalent to taking a XOR with 1? Would it be equivalent to taking a XOR with 0? I think yes. If I were to take XOR of this thing by 1, I would get 0 0, and with 0 I would get 1 1, and taking XOR of this thing with 1 would result in 0 1, and with 0 it would result in 0 1 0. Okay, it would have no effect, and taking XOR with 3 would just reverse the thing. Okay, I think I have a solution in my head. Yes, I think I have a solution in my head which we can implement. Go to CPP and make your voice loud. Okay, make my voice loud, and I don't know, is this much fine? You can tell me. Let me lock the volume, and if it is, then you can tell me. If you are still watching, that is. BLP boilerplate, and what is the format in which I'm getting the input? First is length of a n int n, and then I would get a lot of integers c, right? C int n, while n minus minus, what do I do? While n minus minus, yes, take in c in c. Wait, but before that, if n is right, I would have to find out the XOR in anyway, I would have to find out the XOR, right, right. So I would also keep an integer L, that would be length of n. Wait, I can instead here reduce L instead of n, and let's say Z, which would represent the XOR of the whole thing. Now, what would it initially be equal to? I want it initially to be equal to 1. If I take it, shit, nope, not 1. No, shit. Initially, I would like it to be equal to the first element, right? Cn x, right? If it is equal to the first element, then we have no problem. And how do I take XOR? How to take XOR in C++, and take XOR, arbitrary XOR. Okay, that is the operation in C++. That is cool. S x this equals C. That does work. XOR. Now, at the end, I will have to see if n remainder with 2 equals 0. Then I have to see two things. If z at the end ends up at 0, if z equals 0, then we have ourselves a solution. C out, that is 0. Else C out -1 with a new line. Why? Add explicit braces to avoid tangle. Okay, because C++ would not know who this else belongs to, right? But if this is not the case, if n is odd, then n would be equal to whatever x is at this point, and add a new line. Let's test run. Wrong answer for the third case. I gave up. Yeah, that is cool. That is cool. 3 is correct and 1 is also correct in that case. Right. Choose file. What is the name? Name is a. We need the 0. Submit. Let's see, and it says accepted. Right. We need the 0, then prepend and append, and I hope that my sound is high enough and that increase in volume is not causing any problem anywhere else. Okay, and I guess this is going to be the last question that we do today. Time limit, yes. Timur, Timur, Timur. Timur initially had a binary string. Okay, s possibly of length 0. Okay, binary string zeros and ones, and s which could be equal to 0. Okay, he performed the following operations several, possibly 0 times. Okay, add 0 to one end of the string and add 1 to the other end of the string. For example, starting from string this, you can obtain either this or this. Okay, you are given the most final string. What is the length of the shortest possible string he could have started with? A binary string is a string. Yeah. Okay. Okay, first we have this, and then we have the length, and then we have the string. Okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, and we can do this. Of course, I have a solution in my mind for this thing. Let's go CPP, put down the boilerplate. Int n is going to the size, and cn n, and string will be called as cn s. Okay, and both of these could be empty, right? Both of the to return 0 at the end, and for this it is 0. Right, that is cool. Now, yep. mm, while n, and at the end I will do n minus equal to 2, subtract 2 from n, and for that nope, doesn't make sense. I will use a for loop for int I equals 0, I less than n divided by 2, because I only want to go halfway through with this, and I plus plus, right? And in this I have to see the if the sum of the ith letter from the start and the sum of the size of the string, that is n minus ith string, ith is if it is equal to I plus 1, and if it is equal to 1, but this is a string, so we will have 0 and 1 as characters. So what we can do is, right, if, and I would like to have I with me till the end, right? Count, another variable I would like to have it, and I get out of the for loop if s bracket I plus s bracket n minus I, if this is equal to 0 plus 1, right? If it is let me say, if it is not equal to this thing, then break shell. This could have been a much better while loop. All right, while this thing, um start select more, more, delete, put it here. All right, yes, I does not exist there due to some very specific reason. And we will start at int I equals 0, and right, um there I can put this c equal to 0 in this, this replaced by c, and this also replaced by c. And if this, while this is not the case, I will use c plus plus, no, and which is not a reference to anything else, right? Initially c is equal to 0, and I am checking this condition, and then I am increasing c by 1, right? All right, and so by the end, right, c increase c by 1, I want this thing to be true along with, and c is less than or equal to even n divided by 2, right? And at the end I would like to, the answer would be c, no, n minus 2c, c characters from the start and c characters from the end, right? N minus 2 into c, right? I think it would work without brackets also. And then a new line. Right. And CPV test this thing, compiling, running, and wrong answer for all of them. Wahoo. -2. Why is it wrong? CPV, right? For all this, I had 1, 0, 0, right? And so expected 1. So when I have 1, 0, 0 and n equal to 3, right? So 1, 0, 0, right? So this s0 should be equal to 1 and sn minus c, that is ooh, n has to be equal to n minus 1. Yes, n has to be equal to minus 1 and minus 1, because n minus 1 is nothing. That null character, yes, it is equal to null character. N minus uh, sn is null character because it is a string that we have in. Now run. Wrong answer. Why? 3, 4, minus 1. That is not making sense. Right. So n is equal to 3. We subtract 0 and then we subtract 1 to get 2. And we had 1 from here and 1 from this. Sc is equal to 1 and this thing is equal to 0. So this should be true. Oh shit, while this is true. CPP, run, and wrong answer again. My bad. For these two, when the answer should have been 0, but I outfitted -2 due to some reason. Why? When is the answer 0? The answer is 0 in this case, which is the fourth case. This is the fourth case. In this, the answer is 0. If the answer is 0, then wait, we have from here, right? C. Why is it going minus? C should be at the end equal to. Okay, yes, now it makes sense. I cannot have this equal to n. It can only go up to n, but not equal. Yep, now it is correct. C, prepend and append, it says. Yep, C, prepend and append. Submit, and that should work. And yes, it does work. It says accepted. It is running on tests. And see, we got it right. And now let me refresh this sheet, and we had 16 before and now we have 24 questions done. This school, we only have about 7 questions remaining, which we will do tomorrow. And for now it has been 2 hours and 3 minutes, and this would be the end of the stream. And if there is anything that some of you will might want to ask or say, then yeah, this is the time, and I would be ending the stream now. I'll wait for 5 seconds, 5 to 6 seconds, because that is how much delay there is in YouTube while streaming. And also I would have to do this question, which I was unable to do in one of the past streams. I have this nice setup. I usually keep my font at about this level. This is how I usually code on my own. And yep, let me wait, no, this is too small. Yep, that is about it. See, get me push it to my GitHub. Git commit message, embed questions, git push origin master. Yep. Uh, I see no questions, so